How you doing? I today or this afternoon, I think it'd be sort of fun to talk about sort of I guess they're like little gotchas in watch collection. In other words, these are things that would be if it weren't for that. Hey Brian, how you doing? You and I may have a lot of the same gotchas. We'll see. Hi Von Cruel. How are things going? Good. Hi Goldfinger. You know, it I don't know if that fixed it or not. We'll see. Um, yeah, doggone it. It's been pretty stable all day today. Okay, reloaded. Everything's back again. Great. Okay. So we better get started. Now, if you had to name one thing, if it weren't for this, I'd it would make watch collection a lot more enjoyable. Now, one thing we probably all would have in common is the cost. So the amount of money we spend. If they give it to us free, it probably wouldn't be as much fun either. But what are some things that really still getting some buffering but hasn't frozen up? Okay, well, we'll do the best we can. Waiting. Okay, yeah. Um, Truth about the movement. Boy, that's that's another thing. I forgot about that one, but that thing has bugged me for years. That's if if to totally be honest. I mean, it's like, yeah, no, I think that's a good point. You know, it's one of those things that we shouldn't have to really put up with limited editions. I I can see why that it doesn't bother me, but I can see why it would be sort of like, come on. I spend way too much time researching a movement with no clear answer for some manufacturers. I agree. I, you know, I think there's been enough pressure, at least on some, that they figure, well, we better, come across and say what we've got inside. I think as more people become aware of that, it becomes sort of it becomes something a more general kind of thing. Hi, Jose. How you doing? Chili. Most annoying thing of my collection is other people. Well, it's sort of certain, yeah. I think I know what you mean, but chili. There's some there's sort of the both, the most enjoyable and the most aggravating. Hi, Brandon. How you doing? Sarah won't be able to stick around, but the most annoying aspect of collecting are the insanely large boxes. Yeah, I hadn't thought of that. That's a very good point. That is insane. Um, I've got an armoire that I somehow ended up to be the place where I put my boxes and stuff. But the ones that are these great big ones, what do I need that for? I've got one. I have one. I swear it's a two-story one that came with my Vacheron Constantin, 1921. I think for my Mercator, it came with a little case. That's a lot better. Hell with other people. Jose, most annoying thing is not being able to wear your watches whenever you want. These days, you need to be careful. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that would be a pain in the neck. I never thought of that. Hi, dogs. Are you always cold or what? You're always wearing winter gear. I I gotta tell you, dogs, there's a reason for that. Um, Shortly before the summer arrived, we had all of this and we had heat pumps put in, whatever that is. I don't even know if I understand it. And the house is always cool. Outside, it's let me see if I can it can be 1,000 degrees outside. Like right now, it's 85 degrees and muggy. Here, it's always cool. And so I we I don't know in the wintertime, we'll see how well it works in the winter. In the winter, it's supposed to work down to a certain point before it kicks in with uh, the other gas heat. But yeah, that's to answer that. That's how come I'm always wearing a sweater or something. It's 96 degree and in here it's 67, so I do the same thing. Yeah, I think ours is set to 70 degrees all the time inside. But what happens is it seems if it gets really hot outside, the temperature inside goes down rather than up. I don't like hype culture. Man, me neither. Me neither. Um, I was reading today. Some guy put up a post on High Horology Lounge, and the lugs were described as voluptuous. I thought, what a voluptuous lug? That was funny. I thought heat pumps are the mainstay in Florida. Yeah, I when I lived in El Paso had these wonderful things. It got hot there, but it was a dry heat, and so they had these. They were called swamp coolers, and the air was it. Boy, I tell you, those things were great. They just had water run through basically this stuff, and it's always cool. Those are fantastic cooling things. Yeah, yeah, we got I remember when I lived in Florida, but otherwise, it's sort of sweater weather in time all the in time. Mark, constantly looking for another watch. Yeah, I know what you mean. The or there's sort of these, I guess, Sophie's Choice where you can afford one watch and there are 2 that you really want, and each one is exactly what you can afford. You c There's something mine has well, besides some of the ones you guys have mentioned, because you had a lot, especially, Brian's point about the movement, that just drives me crazy. But one of the biggest aggravations now is, is delivery. The whole delivery thing is, it used to be bad enough. You'd get this thing from FedEx, say exception, and you have a little red thing, and then you have to go through. I have all these numbers I call, and I call them, and what's going on. And now they added tariffs to it. By that's just insane because it's I was like, come on, just send me the blasted watch. The whole thing with the I had to get that special license for our here's the irony. I had to get a special license for ostrich skin. And so what I had done though, I'd got these uh gator straps from AB Concepts. And so I really like my gator straps. And I sort of the poor old ostrich straps that took so much to get done. And they look good too, by the way. But I I haven't used them. Hi, Idle Time. North Central Florida, that's where I used to live. I don't know if you're near Gainesville, but that was where I was for, so 3 years, I think, at the when I was teaching at the University of Florida. Now, I had one of my sons was, my youngest son was born there, so it's they got some ties. When I lived in Saskatoon, we have a poor man's AC, a fan in the front door, the screen, and a fan at the back door with a push-pull, setup that air ran through the house to cool us off at night, yeah. When I was very, very young, we lived in Mississippi, and at the time, this was, I think, electricity had just been invented. Man, I tell you, that was they had these hot they had a ceiling fan, I guess, or an attic fan, and it would it'd take all the air out. It didn't work very well, but it was better than nothing. Williston, okay, yeah. Hi, Andre. How you guys doing? How's Denmark doing these days? That's where I get all my T-shirts from is Denmark. I do prefer actual AC, but the fans really helped. You had to switch. Yeah, that's what we have. We got fans all over our house that we had before we put in the heat pump, and now it's most of the. What we did is that we left downstairs is we have no vents or anything down there, but it was always cooler, and so now it's if you wanna warm up a little and not have to wear a sweater, you have to go downstairs. Okay, yeah, let's see, aggravation is I don't know, it sort of seems to center around FedEx, but when who was it? DHL, uh, they pulled some things. I think if you spend enough time with DHL or FedEx, you're gonna hate one of them or both of them. UPS, I haven't nothing good or bad about UPS. One of the things that both DHL and UPS have, you'd have a little thing on your phone and you could follow the truck. It would show you where the truck was coming. But the last the last FedEx delivery we had, very strange. We had one, we stayed home all day waiting for it. It was supposed to be like between, I don't know, 11 and 1 o'clock. Never showed up. And then we got another thing. So, oh, it'll be here by 8 o'clock. By 9 o'clock, there was this thing that said, well, I stopped by and nobody was home, which wasn't true because we had put in a Ring doorbell and it records everything. I mean, everything that at your front door, whether they ring it or not. And so there was nobody there, let alone anyone who rang it. But those kinds of things, you just want to. I had gone down to FedEx one day. I told them what happened. I said, look, um, I don't mind driving 15 miles or whatever it was to the FedEx place over by the airport. But I said, I just, we can't stay home all day with these, people not showing up. And after that, things got really good for a while, but now they're back to the same nonsense again. Canada's Post, huh? After their last strike, when they trapped mail in the system for months, I avoid Canadian Post. I've that's really funny. I've had the opposite with the US Post. If I want something sent and I don't want to have anybody to wait, I'll send it. It's called priority mail, and they have special boxes and everything. And I use those and never had a problem with it. And the only thing that ever happened a couple times was that it got there a day earlier than they said it was going to get there. So We'll see what happens. Hi, Ghost. How you doing? Just back from being across the pond in London. The watch boutiques on Bond Street are a dangerous place for a watch addict. I can imagine. I tell you, there was this place on Jermyn Street in London that has this wonderful hat store, and I don't know, we don't have any plans going back there right away, but you know, we may end up there. But that's another place. Bond Street. Bond Street is it's going to be pretty hefty. I've got the same problem with, I guess, Madison and Fifth Avenue in New York, and especially 47th Street. Yeah, Von Krul. I think that's really wrong too. It doesn't help. I mean, this is the same way. I don't want to go off on that, but I feel the same way about tariffs. I mean, this is something from the 1890s when the last time they did that, and it's got me very concerned. I'll put it that way. Idle time when FedEx, UPS, and DHL hand off to UPS final delivery, it adds a few days to the shipping, and it's really annoying. I've had the opposite on that. There was some I got from Asia, and they would send it to. But you get all of us seem to have different experiences on that. Like I said, now there's going to be something that will happen. Oh no, what now? Oh, that's a good thing, Von Cruel. I've got a iPhone, and I use my FedEx. FedEx has an app, and I use it, and it works pretty good. And also, I have the DHL, and the app work. I wish the companies would the deliveries would work as well as their app. Hey, Andre, picked up a watch shipped with DHL. They just gave it to me without I proved I was who I claimed to be. That's sort of an interesting thing, Andre. One of the things I found out, um, I wanted a watch delivered to there's a drugstore, a Walgreens drugstore, a couple miles up the road. And if I have it there, I don't have to wait home for it or anything else. And I go there and I sign for it. And what I found was that there's a certain amount that if you're above that amount, then they want to take it right to your door, because to be sure if you live there that you're the person that it's supposed to belong to, and then they take a picture of it and everything. So sometimes I sign. Well, usually my wife signs for it because she keeps a sharp eye out for that. Hi, Isa. How you doing? Jeff, tickets for Watch Time in New York are on for sale now. Let me echo what Jeff is talking about. If you're going to go, if you can go to the Friday night cocktail party, they're a little pricey right now, but I'll tell you, it's worth it. It really is. Always we've gone for years. Now they have two different kinds of things. You can go to the regular Friday night, and it's not cheap, and you got finger food and all you can drink and so forth. And or there's another alternative. You can do that plus dinner, and so there's that. Also, too, for those who might be in New York for the gala, I think it's I got a thing from the the Horological Society of New York, and they've announced their March gala, and they're really fancy now. They're having it at the Plaza Hotel in New York. I'm going to see if we can get a room there for the night and stay at the Plaza. It's always fun. 6,000 euro watch. Wow. Boy, yeah, the drop off places are much more concerned with your identity than they care. I think you're right. I went there. There was this one, if you take your phone with you and you have a little special thing on there, that it's ready for pickup, and you take it to them. You know what I found out, Brian? It depends who you get. There was this one woman there who was this young woman who just was, I don't know, it sort of went to her head that she had some kind of power and everything. So, I think she took everything but a palm print, and finally somebody came along and told her to take a break right now, and they'd handle it. Thank God. She didn't know what she was doing, so she had to act officious about the whole thing. Hi, JGH. I don't like postal strikes and tariffs. I don't either. I I think we can get a consensus on that one. Hey, Chili, all you can drink. I would have to leave on a trolley. That's okay. Wouldn't be I mean, we take an Uber or a cab to the event and take one home. Then we don't have to worry. I mean, they pour us back at the hotel. Those are a lot of fun. They're really fun get-togethers. We get to it's sort of an annual thing. It's just fun. Okay, well now let's sort of set aside our political views. But they're too dangerous right now, Von Cruel. Okay. Um, so what else do we have? I was, I hate Swiss Post. They sent the watch to the wrong name, and their tracking stops once it leaves the Swiss. I got a Wimbledon Rolex. I really hate you can't track anything with them. I we have there's a place in Leloc that we use that Larique does. They are fantastic. They take care of everything, all of the shipping. But the thing is that as soon as it leaves them, then it becomes something that DHL or FedEx does. And you have such variations. Sometimes if you call the right person at FedEx, because I've got all the numbers to call, you get really they know what to do and so forth. Other times you call and you say, well, you got to call here, you got to call there, and the time you get to the other place, well, they won't be back until Monday at some of 9:30, I think, Central Time. It's always something. My latest thing has been these numbers that I have to call in Newark, at the Newark airport, because that looks like where ours are coming in, and talking to people about the what's going on with the with these charges that we have. Hey, you got the right DHL man. Sometimes, like I said, I've had good and bad experiences with all of them. I can't, with the exception of UPS. Now, maybe if I used UPS more, I would have some. I like the guy who sings my name. I gotta find him. Manitoba, huh. Boy, man, is Manitoba is that's sort of Western Connecticut? I mean, Canada? I'm in Connecticut. Hey, Tim, how you doing? Okay, what else? Let's see. We have lots to one of the things I wonder if there's a way, if there's anything we can do to fix it. Tim, hi, I'm glad to hear you're doing great. Tim lives in a world where it's 5 o'clock somewhere. Yeah, okay. I guess since I'd be over, we go up to, La Belle Provence, in the eastern part. A place I like that, I was in Halifax, once on a thing, we went there. Halifax is fascinating, I think. I know most people would say, "Oh, it's really boring," but it's to me, it wasn't. It was one of the really interesting place. Hey, Tim, you got them all lined up. I live so far north that it seems like the Pony Express delivers my mail. Right. I don't know, Connecticut is right between Boston and New York if we wanna go, but at the same time, we sort of become a couple country mice, my wife and I, sort of with neighbors, next door neighbors are cashmere goats. What a great place. Okay. Oh, wow, that'd be cool. One thing, there are a lot of, groups that meet face to face. I on more than one occasion, I've mentioned, the Oklahoma group, I the Oklahoma Watch Collectors group, and they are here you got this, I mean, compared to Connecticut, my wife's from Texas, I'm from California, so we're really from big states, and here we are in, I think, one of the smallest states. I think we're bigger than Rhode Island and maybe Delaware, and that's it. So we're pretty small. So, do you have any preference, for East Coast over West Coast? There's that thing called winter. You know, um, both my wife and I, we've been here in, good grief, we've been in Connecticut almost 30 years now. And both of us are, dyed-in-the-wool, either Southwesterners or myself, Californian. But we've come up here to we really like it. The house that I lived in California was burned down to the foundation by the fires. We had fires. We've always had fires. And it where I used to live, it becomes more and more crowded, and so I don't know, here, it's just sort of like we got lots of room, and that's probably where we live is sort of like I said, we're a couple country mice, so I don't know. There's every state I've lived in, good grief, across the South, Florida, Alabama, Mississippi, Arizona. My brother was born in Arizona. Of course, California, I lived in Texas, Illinois. There's something about all of the states I lived in that I really, really like. There's something about them, some kind of personality. Um, and it but there are other things. I swear the Midwest in Illinois, those winters, I mean, I thought New England was gonna have some rough winters, but boy, I tell you, the nothing like they had in, the Midwest when I lived in, suburban Chicago and Kankakee. Those things, man, they got somehow they get really cold. But, on the other hand, I like the people, and there's so many other things to like about them. But I like Connecticut. Connecticut is like, just there's sort of something about it that I like, and I'm not even sure what it is. Sort of like my Fabergé. I love my Fabergé, but I'm not quite sure why. Here, the people are really nice. See, where I come from, you see a car or somebody and you wave, say hi. And here in Connecticut is that it's sort of like, do we know this guy? And so we've been here like 30 years. Oh yeah, he's been around. It's sort of a different kind of personality. Um, when I lived in San Francisco, first year I lived in San Francisco, I couldn't stand it. The second year I was there, I didn't want to live anyplace else in the world. And I've always loved San Francisco since then. There's something about that, but from what I hear, it's really changed. So, like I said, here I am with the other country mice, little town. Sailcloth straps. Von Krul, me too. I like the whole idea of sailcloth. For a sports watch, I think sailcloth is a lot better than a bracelet. Um, but my favorite, I still like gator straps. I don't know why. It's sort of like just there's something about them I like. They just feel right. Uh-oh. Um, guys, I think my time is up. Hey, Rancher, how you doing? Um, in New York, we wave hi to everyone. We just do do it with one finger. Now, come on. I know where you are in New York. Where you are in New York, I swear it's an extension of uh, of Western Connecticut. You just go up 84 and there you are. If you visit San Francisco again, let me know. I'll be happy to tour you around. Oh, that would be fun. Yeah, no, we have it was one of those places, I was there the time I was there was in this, mid-60s, and it was a very fun, interesting, just sort of mind-boggling place at that time. But it was really something. There's a certain kind of, I don't know what you'd call it. There was a certain kind of friendliness of San Francisco that I always liked. Um, so okay, guys, yep, I gotta go. Take care. Um, we'll see you next time, okay? I'm glad we got some things. Some of the things you said too, I agree with. I don't think there was one I disagree with. Come to the Middle East. I was there. I've been to Saudi Arabia, to Egypt. I had another place I like. I like, Equatorial Africa. I was in, Kenya, Nairobi some years ago. Beautiful, just gorgeous place. Anyway, take care, guys. We'll see you.